Welcome back to the channel. It's Formula Park One. We showcase amateur athletes every day. If you're an amateur athlete would like a player spotlight, DM me for a collaboration. We're talking today about the AP poll predictions for week 2. The risers and the pretenders. Coming at number 1, it's not a surprise, it's Ohio State, whose record 1-0. The last game they played was against Texas, and they won 14-7. And they up next is their opponent is Grambling State. They should be able to win that game by a landslide. Coming at number 2, it's Penn State, whose record 1-0. Last week they played Nevada, and they won 46-11. Coming next is number 3, Georgia, whose record was 1-0. The last game they played was against Marshall, and they won 45-7, and they play Austin Peay next. Coming at number 4, the Miami Hurricanes, whose record is 1-0. Their last game they played was against Notre Dame, and Miami won 27-24. Up next is Bethune-Cookman. That should be an easy win for the U. Number 5 is Oregon, whose record is 1-0. The last game they played was against Montana State, which they won 59-13. And up next is Oklahoma State. That should be a good matchup. Number 6, Go Tigers. LSU, whose record is 1-0, and the last game they played was against Clemson, and they won 17-10. Up next is Louisiana Tech. They should win that one pretty easy. And number 7 is Notre Dame, who had a loss last week. They got defeated by Miami 27-24, and they have an open week. They should be able to rest some of their players next week. Coming at number 8 is Texas, who lost. So their record is 0-1, and they got beat by the number 1 team, Ohio State, 14-7. And they play San Jose State this week. That should be a good comeback game for Arch Manning. Coming at number 9 is Utah, whose record is 1-0. Utah beat UCLA 43-10, and up next is Cal Poly. Coming at number 10 is Tennessee, whose record is 1-0. Last week they beat Syracuse 45-26, and they have an easy game this week. They play East Tennessee State. Coming at number 11 is Clemson, who lost last week by LSU. They lost 17-10, and up next they play Troy, which they should bounce back from. Number 12 is Florida State. Their record is 1-0, and the last game they played was against Alabama. That was a surprise, when Florida State won 31-17, and they have an easy game this week against East Texas A&M. Coming at number 13 is USC, whose record is 1-0. They beat Mississippi State by an amazing margin, 73-13. And the next game they play against Georgia Southern. They should score some points in that game. Coming at number 14 is Alabama Crimson Tide, whose record is 0-1. And they got beat by a surprising team, Florida State, 31-17. Up next is ULM. They should be able to have a bounce-back victory. Coming at number 15 is Michigan. The last game they played was against New Mexico, and they won 34-17, and they got a good matchup this week when they play Oklahoma. Number 16 is Florida, who won last week against LIU, and the Florida Gators won 55-0. Up next, they got another easy game against USF. Coming at number 17, Texas A&M, whose record is 1-0. Last game they played was against UTSA, and the score was 42-24. And up next is Utah State. That should be a good matchup. Coming at number 18 is Oklahoma, whose record is 1-0. The last game they played was against Illinois State, and they won 35-3. And up next is Michigan. Coming at number 19 is Texas Tech, who have a record of 1-0. The last game they played was against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they won by amazing fashion, 67-7. They play Kent State next. And coming at number 20 is Iowa State, whose record 2-0, or Iowa State beat South Dakota 55-7, and they play Iowa next. A good in-state matchup. Number 21 is Missouri, whose record 61-0, and they played Central Arkansas, which they won 61-6, a dynamic win, and they play Kansas next. Number 22 is Ole Miss, who's 1-0, and they beat Georgia State 63-7. Their next opponent is Kentucky. That's going to be a great SEC matchup. And number 23 is South Carolina, whose record is 1-0. South Carolina defeated Urane Tech, and they won 24-11. And they have another in-state rival. They play South Carolina State next. Coming at number 24 is Illinois, whose record is 1-0. And Illinois won against Western Illinois 52-3. Up next is Duke. And to round out the 25 is Indiana, who has a record of 1-0, and they beat Old Dominion 27-14. And the next game they play is Kansas State. That rounds out the AP Top 25 predictions. For all your amateur news, subscribe to Formula Park 1 on YouTube. Thank you for your support.